vaccinations including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Masters Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
This is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and thank you for tuning in. You're listening to Salam Radio with myself, Shaz Nawaz, and I have in the studio with me
Kieran Bateman.
How are you, Kieran?
I'm so good. It's been an amazing week.
Is that because it's nice weather out there?
It's beautiful weather out there, isn't it?
That's when you're happy, aren't you?
But isn't all weather beautiful? Even when it's cold and wet, it's still beautiful weather.
It might be, but not to me.
You're just wearing the wrong clothes.
Yeah, and the rest. No, but I think when it's hot or warm, cheers most people up, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It really does.
Yeah. I mean, some will moan and complain it's too hot, as you know, but they'll moan about everything.
Some people like to moan.
It's just habitual, isn't it?
It is.
Creatures of habit. That's what we are.
Yeah. But I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on it.
Yeah.
If they'd like to get in touch.
It's always a good thing, isn't it?
Always a good thing.
And to do that, you can call us on 01733 602 133, text on 07411 191 062, or use any of the live streams, which are Facebook, YouTube, X, or Twitch. So do get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. And this week on Wealth Made Simple, we're talking about a very important topic, and more important than most people would think. And that's around emotional wealth and the importance of emotional wealth.
Yes.
And I think wealth is the right word to use, but I will also call it the emotional bank account, Kieran.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's an oft misunderstood, misrepresented, or underappreciated aspect of our lives. People get themselves into, people understand anxiety, depression, things like that, and I'm not here to counsel or send
we're not experts in that.
No, absolutely not, but
we're patients in that.
Yeah, in so many respects. But there's a lot of focus on that, and there's very little focus on, or very little talked about being genuinely happy or content or okay, because people just go, oh, you're happy, that's great, and move on. But we don't look at what constitutes that, what makes you able to get through the hard days, or especially when it comes to business and growing something. We don't talk about, oh, you seem to be happy all the time. Does anything get you down? Well, yeah, of course it does. But I've built up a resilience through my emotional wealth, my emotional bank account, that I can spend on a couple of bad days, and it doesn't tie me to it. Does that make sense? And
it's easier said than done, as you know.
Oh, gotcha.
But it's so important because more often than not, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers are going to resonate with this, is more often than not, we make it seem in our mind's eye worse than it really is. Something goes wrong. We're talking about business. We talk a lot about property, as you know, and there's a certain challenge with a deal, and all of a sudden, most people get worked up about it.
Yes. Yeah.
The world is going to end now, and this is happening, that's happening, and it's the end of the deal. I'm going to lose money, and this and that, all this stuff here, and they get worked up so much about it and now they're in a state where they maybe make the wrong decision, or prone to making a wrong decision because they got so worked up about it.
Yeah, a phrase I like to use a lot, and it allows me to step away from the situation, is the sky is not falling, Chicken Little. The sky is not falling. And that just it's a personal thing, but it grounds me. And actually, stop, take a look at the situation, take a step away, breathe. Okay, yeah, this isn't how I wanted it to play out, but it's happened now. How do we deal with it going forwards? What can we learn from this?
A client of mine, Roger, who sadly passed away a few years ago, used to have a wonderful quote in his office. I'm sure you've heard it before, by the way. It'll be okay at the end.
Yeah.
If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Yeah.
I just, but the first time I came across that's wonderful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And another one is that I really like is, if you're going through hell.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
You know that one.
Yes. Keep
but
going.
keep going.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't stay and keep going till you get out.
Absolutely. Yet, when the emotional bank account's high, as in people are doing really well, as you said, they don't keep some of that in reserve because it's not physical, it's not tangible, if you know what I mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Then sometimes they forget that feeling. But when things aren't going so well, and more often things aren't going so well because of our own expectation.
Yes.
And like I said, we then make poor decisions and we get worked up about it. And then this particular episode, we're going to obviously focus on that. And how does one go about building, Kieran, and we'll call it bank account because it's wealth and bank account, okay? Their emotional bank account.
I think for me, the first thing is self-awareness, understanding where you are, knowing where your bank account sits right now. I've done this exercise, and I do this exercise every year around January sort of time. And I know you've done this exercise before. Is the circle of life? And there are like 12 aspects of it, 12 components, and it's just you do it for yourself. Grade it 1 to 10, and each bar
Connect the dots
and see where your life is at in terms of where the balance is or where it's out of balance and stuff, and take some time and do that, and be honest with yourself about where you feel you're at. Is your financial independence, is your financial bank account lower than you want it to be? Is it roughly where you want it to be? Is it lower than you expected? Is it higher than you expected? Be honest about it. Is your emotional tank, do small things affect you quickly? If they are, maybe it's something worth looking at. Because so I've heard people say, I'm just a reactive person. Okay, but and if that's who you want to be, fine. But is that who you want to be?
Yeah, through choice, yeah.
Everything is a choice. In my opinion, everything is a choice. If you want to be reactive, you'll be reactive. If you want to be aggressive, you'll be aggressive. If you want to be non-aggressive, you'll be non-aggressive. It's all a choice.
And let's call those things tools for now. They're not tools per se, okay?
No.
They're behaviours, but tools. Then use the right tool at the right time.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I never get angry, I never get upset or anything like that. I'm saying that sometimes I absolutely do get, and sometimes it is the right situation to be angry. And suddenly people know about it. People sit up and you're not someone who gets angry. Then you get angry that once. Don't have to do it very often, because that one time you explode, it solves all the issues that you've had there, because people are shocked by it. If you're angry all the time, you're just an angry individual. Nobody cares.
No one likes you.
No one likes you, and nobody cares that you're angry.
Yeah.
If you're a likable, nice, conscientious person, 90% of the time, 99% of the time, and then you explode and you have to have enough self-awareness to justify it, to know that it's the right decision. If you're just doing it out of instinct, just flipping a switch, then you're again being reactive rather than proactive.
And that comes with recognizing, understanding, and to some extent managing, possibly even controlling emotions, and understanding that emotions actually influence your behavior and your decision making and how rational you are. And so you need to adjust them. And obviously having emotional intelligence is important, but making sure that you maintain that balance.
Yeah. I mean, feel what you feel how you're going to feel by all means, but when you're feeling an emotion, in my experience, and the way that works for me is I will feel it and then decide whether it's the right thing to express. Yeah, generally, laughter, happiness, all those fun things are usually the right thing to express. But
Depends on the situation as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But with every situation, whether it's good or bad, you need to control the good emotions to learn to control the bad ones. Because if you can't control being happy, being joyous, stuff like that, that's easy to control, how are you ever going to control anger?
Yeah.
Because that's a much stronger emotion.
And more reactive in the moment.
Yeah.
And more often than not, for most people, the things we say and do when we're angry, we live to regret sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that really wasn't appropriate. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, and it can affect everything. I mean, it can affect your entire life, and that's no small statement.
Yeah.
So being able to control that, you know, and you see this a lot in pop culture and so in mass media a lot of the time. You know, people trying to exonerate the virtue of not reacting to people. You know, someone says something about your mother. You know, okay, that wasn't very nice, but that says more about them than it does about you.
Yeah.
I mean, what they said, is it true? Well, if it's not true, then who cares? It's just words. And it's far easier said than done, don't get me wrong. I completely appreciate it. It's far, far easier said than done. But if you have enough self-control, self-awareness to take yourself out of a situation, okay, they said that, they must be in a dark place.
It's like that old saying, isn't it, Kieran? Those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter.
It's all mind over matter. I don't mind, and you don't matter.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But the emotional bank account keeps one going.
Yeah, it does.
When the days are tough and things aren't working out, we've all had those, and we have them regularly throughout a year, for example, throughout a week or a month when things aren't going to plan. You got to believe in the outcome. You got to believe in yourself and feel and understand and recognize that you're going to do it.
Yes.
Whatever it might be. No matter how difficult it is.
Absolute faith and belief.
On that. Okay.
Yeah, absolute faith and belief in yourself. A lot of the time, your success is just one more failure away. One more failure away.
Yeah.
Because, there's a great book, Failing Forwards.
Yeah.
Fantastic book. But the message, sometimes you've got to fail to stand up.
Tom Watson, the founder of IBM, said, if you want to succeed, double your failure rate.
Yep.
And he knows that thing too about business.
At 23, Oprah was fired from her job.
Yeah.
Imagine being the person that fired the person who would become Oprah.
Yeah.
But she had to experience that to give her the fire that got her to where she is now.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
easy to connect the dots when you look back, as Steve Jobs said. Do you remember? All that stuff happened. Okay, I'm glad it did because it's got me to where I am now. And the universe just guides you, doesn't it?
But you can't connect the dots going forwards. It's really easy to connect the dots going back.
Yeah.
But along with the wheel that we spoke about earlier, look back through your life, and just as an exercise, look at where you are now and connect the dots to how you got to where you are now.
Yeah.
Are there any patterns? Are there any reasons?
There will be, yeah.
And I promise you there will be.
Yeah.
Because we are creatures of habit. Once we form a habit, we stick to it. It takes around 90 days to break a habit, but only 30 days to make one.
Yeah.
On average for most people.
Yeah. Some say 21 days, some say 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, it takes more than three times as long to break a habit than it does to make one.
Yeah.
So why not focus on making good habits?
People after they've had a heart attack or who were smokers and then stop, end up going back to smoking.
Yeah.
Even though they've had a heart attack, it's a wake-up call that this isn't good for you. After that particular occurrence, which is life-changing, isn't it?
Yep.
You think, most people say, okay, before I was told and thought, it might not be me, I'll carry on. But now I've had this wake-up call, but they still go back to it because, like as you said, it's habit.
Yeah. And there are two really strong things that change people's habits overall. Pain and gain.
Yeah.
Which is stronger?
Pain.
Pain, every time. Every time. If you work hard at what you do and become the best in the world at what you do, you could gain millions of followers and millions of pounds and live the life of your dreams.
A friend of mine, Peter Thompson, who I did work with earlier on in my career, used to do something like, pain is the catalyst for action, gain is the continuation of action.
That's exactly where I was
Pain
going.
gets you to
Yeah.
move, doesn't it? Quicker than gain does. Gain keeps you going.
Yeah. But if I just told you just about the gain, chances are you might never start because you're comfortable where you are. Pain means you're uncomfortable,
Yeah.
which is what triggers the action to stop being
Something
uncomfortable.
about it, yeah, for most people. So self-awareness, and
Yep.
then what we just talked about, it links with how you deal with resilience
Yes.
and the ability to recover from what you may perceive to be a setback.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I choose to see everything as a lesson.
Yeah.
You know, I tried this, it didn't work. Okay, what did I learn from it? Because there's always something you can learn
It's
from
a gift,
it.
isn't it?
There is
Everything's a
always
gift, yeah.
there is always something you can learn. You know, I mean, take an extreme example for it. I was in a relationship. I was engaged. A month before the wedding, I got cheated on. Oh no! I mean, it was awful at the time. You know, this happened a long, long time ago. And at the time, it hurt massively. My emotional bank account was low.
Yeah.
I threw myself into work. I focused solely on work and developing my work
Kept your
ethic
mind
myself.
busy.
Kept my mind busy. Kept myself busy until I came out of it. And I look back now, and it gave me a better job. It gave me a steadier income. It gave me an education because I went on to learn things about myself. I went on to learn other things.
Yeah.
And it taught me what I'm willing to accept in another person. So actually...
And tolerate.
Yeah. So there were some massive, massive benefits.
Yeah.
But again, looking back, connecting the dots, I can see where I am now, that there were massive benefits.
At the time, it would have been a deep, dark place.
Yeah, at the time it was. But like I said, that's an extreme example of, you know, getting to a really low point that's not financial.
Well, the lower the lows, the higher the highs, and vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
But, and yeah, I look back now and I go, you know, it happened. I hope they're happy. You know,
Of course.
you know, I can genuinely say I bear no ill will.
Because there's no benefit to you. Because your emotional bank account's going to be low when you do that.
And that's the other thing is,
Just let it go.
well, if I bear an ill will, that affects me. It doesn't affect the other person.
You're
And-
allowing them to live rent-free in the most expensive real estate.
My mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They occupy your thoughts.
Occupy your thought. And that's just it. You are the landlord of your own mind. Things that don't belong there, evict them.
Get rid of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quickly. Bury them,
And-
burn them in your mind.
You know, do
Let
what you
go,
need to
release.
do, let go, release, and accept that what has happened to you has happened to you for a reason, whatever that reason is, whether it's a reason of your own making, whether it's a reason of somebody else's making, whether it's your mistake, whether it's somebody else's mistake, doesn't matter.
And usually it's a bit of both, usually. But it's always,
Yeah.
somebody else's fault.
It's always somebody else's fault, yeah, absolutely. I was innocent in my scenario.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Absolutely.
You did nothing wrong.
I did nothing wrong.
No.
No,
I could never imagine that.
yeah, and we, yeah, I can
Yeah.
look back and say, yeah, I can see the mistakes I made.
Yeah, of course.
Fine. But,
And sometimes life shows you that mirror. Well, often
yeah.
it shows us.
Yeah.
If you look at it and reflect and
it's a hard
adapt.
thing to look at. Truly
benefit.
looking at yourself is really, really difficult. And I've got some friends who are coaches and life coaches, and when they hold up that mirror, because they do, it's really difficult to look at because doesn't matter. You can lie to a coach, but you can't lie to
You
yourself.
can't.
You know, when you look at yourself in a mirror and you go, I am this sort of person, you know if you're telling yourself the truth.
Always.
You cannot lie to yourself. So stop trying to, is the first thing on resilience. Stop trying to lie. to yourself, to your friends, to your others,
Yeah,
to significant
bring some
others.
honesty into that conversation. Yeah.
You know, and honesty can sometimes hurt. Honesty is hard. People underestimate. Just be honest. Honesty is hard, especially with yourself. But sometimes, you know, do you have that friend who hurts your feelings, but they tell you the truth?
We all need a few of those.
You know,
Critical friend, yeah. Because they're your real friend.
exactly, because they're not
They care
worried
about you, yeah.
They care about you enough to hurt your feelings, to tell you the truth,
To help you improve.
to help you improve, to help you grow.
And that's the third point you wanted to make. For
Leading on
the
to that, yep.
components of emotional bank account and wealth
Yeah.
is relationships.
It's amazing how all these things tie together, isn't it?
Which is exactly the same thing I was going to say for the wheel of life. I didn't, but I'll say it now. And you're talking about your financial account isn't where you want it to be, but there's other things around there. And let's say in your wheel of life, you've got health, relationships, family, exercise, so on and so forth, work-life balance, whatever it might be. And some of those are down, but they impact your financial wealth.
Yes.
So if you improve those, so they all interlinked, intertwined is the point I'm trying to make. Okay, your financial wealth automatically goes up. But we're so fixated, most of us, on how do I improve the financial wealth? Well, improve everything else in that equation, and that'll improve automatically.
Yes, just by proxy.
Yeah. And so these are interlinked. So
Yeah.
tell us about relationships.
I'm no expert on relationships, but
You've got experience.
I do have experience, and as I've got older, my circle's got smaller. You know, when I was young, I had
Everybody's our best friend.
yeah. When you're younger, everyone's your best friend, and you look back now and you can see how some of them were snakes in the grass. All right.
Good luck to them.
Good luck to them. I wish them well. And some people who were honest with you at the time and were good friends, you weren't prepared to accept their honesty at the time, so you were the bad friend. And, you know, I've been that person where...
The teacher appears when the student's ready.
I love that phrase.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, and now I consider it my job to be honest with my friends.
Yes.
If something's happening and, you know, you hear all your other groups of friends being echo chambers, very dangerous thing is an echo chamber.
Very dangerous, you're right.
You know, don't surround yourself with echo chambers, in my opinion.
Being honest anyway. Let's be honest about it. Most of them aren't being honest. They just tell you what they think you want to hear.
Yeah. You know, whereas, I mean, I've got, you know, one of my best friends, I argue with him a lot. You know, we have some very strong disagreements, but when he's wrong, rather than going, I don't want to have this conversation because I can't be bothered with the argument, because it's going to be an argument because he can't see that he's wrong at the moment. But he's your friend. Have that conversation.
Yeah.
And he does the same for me. Yeah, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I need to accept that.
It grounds you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it keeps you humble more than anything.
So what you're trying to say is keep an open mind.
Yeah. And never judge a book by its cover. That people don't take that phrase to heart, and they really should. Yeah, if you saw...
All appears well on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
A deep ocean.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And, you know, there are some people who are, you know, 10 miles wide but 1 inch deep, and, you know, they're fair weather friends.
So be it. Yeah.
So be it. That's the world we live in. But there are other people who have a very, very small circle and they won't engage with many things. But when you get to know them, that depth is just there, and it goes on and on and on. And those are the people you want to hold tight to.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, you know, your emotional wealth around your friends and around your relationships, don't judge books by the cover. If someone is saying something, if you are meeting someone, if you are learning about someone, keep an open mind and don't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah, you and I have had some long debates about topics that we won't ever cover on this show. very theological
Not for
sometimes.
public consumption.
Yeah. But historical conversations where we have different points of views. Theological conversations, all of that sort of thing, and neither of us come to the table going adamantly, "This is how it is. You must believe how I believe." We come to the table and go, "Okay, this is my thoughts on the subject. What do you think?" And it's always an open conversation.
They are the best conversations, aren't they?
They absolutely
Don't
are.
try and change people. Just share information with them.
Yeah.
If it's right, when it's right, they'll change themselves if they need to. And if they don't need to, they don't need to.
Yeah.
That's not our job.
It's
We're
not
not their parents, are we?
No, we're not there to change
Even if we
people.
are, I don't think we should change our kids anyway. We should teach them good values, good morals, discipline, good ethics.
And teach them to learn.
Yeah. That's
That's
the
the
best gift you can give
best
anybody.
gift you can give anyone.
Yeah.
Is
And you start that by doing it yourself.
yes. And as soon as you open your mind to that concept of learning, all of your relationships pick up, because suddenly you're not in that closed loop.
But that takes us nicely towards our first and only break. And
Yep.
after break, we're then going to obviously got lots more to cover. We always have lots to cover. So please stay tuned, or at least tune back after the break. And we're going to cover more important tips for you on emotional
You're
background.
listening to Salam Radio, and it's now time for Asr Azan. This Azan is sponsored by UK Islamic Mission, serving humanity since 1962.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. If you were with us in the first half, and if you just joined us, thank you very much for tuning in. You're listening to Salam Radio on 106.2 FM. I'm your host Shaz Nawaz, and I have my co-pilot Kieran Bateman with me, and we're talking about something very important. But before I get on to that, as always, we value your input and participation. Please do get in touch with us using the following methods. You can call on 01733 602 133. No one ever seems to want to pick up the phone, by the way, which we might talk about later.
It's a modern world.
Text on 07411 191 062, or comment on any of the live streams, which are Facebook, YouTube, X, or Twitch. This week on Wealth Made Simple, we're talking about the importance of having a strong emotional wealth and bank account, which
Yes.
is one of the most important components in being successful, I think, in business and being successful in life.
I agree.
By far, and because people can't see it, it's not tangible. They aren't aware of it per se. They don't give enough focus to it. So we've obviously done that, and in the first half, we talked about self-awareness and self-regulation, resilience, relationships, and you've got a fourth component to that, Kieran, which is
Commitment and happiness. You're with that self-awareness and that that understanding and the open-mindedness, the ability to learn. You will naturally, in my opinion, become happier
so being content
and
then moving towards being happy.
Yeah, because you're not chasing away the demons. You're not fighting the anger all the time. You're controlling yourself. So you've learned to let go of sounds very Zen. Let go of your anger. But it's true. Yeah, I'm not saying
Very
you're
Kung Fu Panda that was.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. If that offended anyone, I apologise. But if you have that emotional resilience and that regulation, you can let go of things far easier.
And it's like any muscle that you got to work on and build it and strengthen it.
Absolutely. And once you've got content, then you can focus on what makes you happy. Now transitioning on, the importance of this in your life, because these were the components of what makes emotional wealth. The self-reliance, the resilience, the understanding your relationships, having good relationships, and then contentment leading into happiness. These are the components, but what makes them so important is that when you have a high emotional bank account, then you as an individual are more resilient to the trials and tribulations that this world throws at you. So it makes your fortitude stronger. It gives you the clarity without being blinded by,
The lights?
Well, blinded by the lights, but lust, for example. When you get into a relationship, if you get into a relationship, a lot of the time, first relationship, I'm using a positive emotion for a change, because people generally focus on the negative, and I said that at the beginning.
You're very touchy-feely, aren't you?
Yeah, I know.
It's not like you.
I know, but people.
You're working on that part of your emotions.
I'm working on it. But as I said at the top of the show, people tend to focus on the negative a lot. So let's focus on the positive. You've just met someone. There's fireworks, but there's a lot of lust. Do you actually like them? Are you compatible with them? If you've got a good emotional bank account, you can enjoy the moment, you can enjoy the lust, you can enjoy the other person, you can enjoy the growing a relationship with them, but you can also have the self-awareness to step away and objectively view what's going on without the rose-tinted glasses of lust, and go, actually, is this person good for me? Is this person someone I like genuinely at a deeper level? Is this person someone I want to spend more time with? Because you can now objectively go through that and go, actually, I've got enough in me that I don't need to rely on someone else for that. So I can go, actually, yes, this is somebody that I'm enjoying my time with, and I will continue to enjoy my time with. And rose-tinted glasses or no, this is someone I can be happy with. And that's a positive view on having emotional wealth. It's not just about controlling the negative, it's also about controlling the positive, not getting carried away with something that seems fantastic at the time but might down the road be less fantastic, but you hadn't seen that because you were too busy running around enjoying yourself. So it's one of those things that it has a direct effect on everything in your life. It has an effect on your mental health. I'm not going to go too deep into that because that's not my area of expertise, but a high emotional wealth has been strongly linked in many studies to the resilience and improvement of mental health disorders. Do your own research. Obviously, I'm not qualified to.
We're just pointing something out.
I'm just this is just information for the sake of information.
Signposting.
Yeah. But it can also when you've got your emotional wealth high, it allows you to objectively make good decisions.
You're in a good place mentally, even though you might be struggling at the time.
Yeah.
But you're just telling yourself the story.
Yep.
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I've got it under control, even though if you haven't.
Exactly.
So on
that.
and so forth.
And I can't remember how long it is. I think it's 3 minutes, something like that. There is a 3-minute loop that lives in your subconscious, telling you who you are, what you can do, what you're capable of. I think it's 3 minutes. I could be wrong. But studies have been done that, and what you tell yourself, your brain cannot differentiate between a joke and the truth. So, if you go in, sorry, that was me, I'm dumb. Your brain picks up on that, your subconscious picks up on that.
Yeah.
It doesn't know that.
And then it feeds you that again.
And then it feeds it.
And again, yeah.
And that becomes habit forming. Don't mind me, I'm just the idiot.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. Your brain doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Whereas, sorry guys, that was a mistake. I made that. Normally I'm really good at this. You'll get better. You'll be amazed at how that one change,
The language pattern, yeah. And the thought pattern,
affects everything. Because normally I'm really good. I'm really good. I'm good at this.
Reinforcing.
You're reinforcing yourself. It sounds very American, but affirmations. Affirmations are really strong. And the reason they're really strong and the reason they work is because it feeds your subconscious.
That's the whole point.
And that
helps
is
you
the
build your emotional bank account.
And that is the whole purpose of them.
That's what it is.
And
I think we covered that on one of the early episodes a while back in terms of how to write affirmations.
Yes. Yeah. And if you don't, I personally don't stand in front of the mirror and do affirmations. That's not something that's in my wheelhouse.
That's not you, yeah.
It's not who I am.
Yeah.
But I do write down affirmations. And, and a lot of them have come to pass. A lot of my goals I have achieved.
Yeah.
And I put it down to starting somewhere with affirmation.
The whole... Go on.
If you want to stand in front of a mirror and say, I am good, I am great, I am amazing, I can smash this. If that works for you, great, do it.
The whole essence of Think and Grow Rich, a book written by Napoleon Hill.
Great book.
Is just based simply on we become what we think about most.
Yeah.
Think and grow rich.
Yeah.
And affirmations are that thought or those thoughts.
Yeah, and another book that follows a similar thread is The Secret.
Yep.
Now, be careful with The
That's
Secret.
a bit woo compared to that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I would say to anyone who's not gone down this rabbit hole, be careful with The Secret.
It's a deep one.
Because it is very deep, and there are some nuances that it misses out. In my opinion.
Like, take some action.
Yeah, like take action. Yeah. Overall, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
You know, turn your volume down if you don't want to hear the spoiler. But you know, The Secret basically says ask, believe, receive. Well, it skips over the bit where
Do.
Ask for what you want, get your affirmations in order, believe you're going to get them, do the work, and receive the reward.
Yeah.
But it does work. People have proven that it works.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about manifestations all the time. Manifesting. You can't manifest with a poor emotional bank account.
You can't, because you're in a very different place. So, and linked with that, obviously, then physical health is as important.
Yes.
And both of those things, in terms of mental health and physical health, help you make better decisions.
Yes. And the more decisive you are, and you'll get it wrong as often as you get it right, but going back to what you said, double your failure rate, doesn't matter if you get it wrong. Just make a decision.
Not the end of the world.
The sky is not falling, Chicken Little.
All young children, young adults, try more and make more mistakes.
Yeah. Michael Jordan scored more basketballs, more hoops than any other player in the NBA. He also took more shots.
Yeah. And probably missed more shots as well.
And statistically, he is not the shot-for-shot highest scoring player of all time. But he is because he took more shots.
Yeah. Yeah, as a percentage, yeah.
As a percentage.
Yeah.
You know, so, whether you believe he's the greatest of all time or whether you believe, the point is he got to where he got to by failing more than anyone else.
And working, practicing hard as well.
Yeah,
and he talks about that quite often, doesn't he?
And, one of the things that you taught me, the difference between a professional and an amateur is professionals play until they get it right.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Amateurs play until they get it right.
Yeah.
Professionals play until they don't get it wrong.
Yeah. Big difference, isn't it?
Yeah. Big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was something that you taught me.
But you learned one thing then.
Yeah, learned at least one
done.
thing from you.
Well done, Kieran. I'm complete now. I'm happy.
Excellent.
But I think, as you said, sometimes people just sit on the fence.
Yeah.
And they don't make a decision. And then that worries them, and they talk about it or don't talk about it, depending on how they're wired. And which is another interesting concept, how they're wired, is how we wire ourselves. Because you can rewire.
You can.
If you want to. And that gets them worked up, and then they never make, they feel like they never make the right decision, because now they're telling themselves, I always get it wrong, or I usually get it wrong. So therefore, now you're telling yourself that, so you're more likely to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know?
Yeah. I consider myself a good, fast, strong decision maker.
Yeah.
I make mistakes. I know I do. I'm human.
Yeah.
But I do overall consider myself a good decision maker.
You just got to get on with it.
And you know what? A lot of the time,
yeah,
it pans out okay. It pans out all right. It's nothing has ever ended the world.
As we said before here, that decision you've made, or that thing that's happened, is it relevant and important tomorrow, next week, next month, 3 months, 6 months, a year? The answer is no. Get on with it.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, you're making this sound easy, and it is. It is pretty straightforward and simple, as we said. Nothing's easy.
No.
It is straightforward and simple. You just got to keep moving in the direction that you've chosen for yourself.
And
there'll be twists and turns.
Yeah. And we've said this before. Pick your hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing is easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. So pick your hard. Is making a decision and getting it wrong hard? Yes. Yes, it is. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Is dealing with the consequences hard? Yes. Yeah. But
be careful what you wish for comes from there.
Yeah.
In terms of The law of unintended consequences.
Yeah. But if, let's take it to two extreme examples. If I decide that I want to be a multi-millionaire, I've decided that. I'm going to become a multi-millionaire. Okay, how are you going to get there? Well, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket every week and I'm going to gamble on winning.
Yeah. A very low probability.
Very low probability. But it might happen.
It's a possibility, yeah.
But small chance, but there's a chance nonetheless. Is that a consistently good decision to spend money on that every week? In my opinion, not
No.
for me. I'm going to become a millionaire. What are you going to do? I'm going to start a business. I'm going to invest some money into it. So I'm going to be poorer for a bit. I'm going to take a step backwards financially. I'm going to be, struggle for a bit. But...
And that's the stake that you're putting.
Yes.
Okay. Both in the ground, okay, and into your business, okay. Because you're saying, I back myself.
Yep. And then I'm going to work really hard on this business. I'm going to learn everything I can about it. I'm going to implement things. I'm going to systematize it. I'm going to make it process driven. I'm going to scale it. Then I'm going to grow it. Then I'm going to employ people to help me. Then I'm going to employ the right people. I'm going to hire really slow and fire really fast, depending on how people are, because that has the people in your business have an effect on your business. And then I'm going to grow it. There's a roadmap there. What are my chances of success? They're a lot higher. But the point is, both decisions have the chance for success. Both decisions have the chance for failure. But one decision will teach me a lot more.
And it's more in your control.
Exactly.
Why would let somebody else control your outcome?
Exactly.
That's the worst thing to do, I think.
But I can do that. I can do that business building exercise because I have resilience. I have a high emotional bank account. I am prepared for the twists and turns. I am prepared for a low financial bank account for a while to get it up and running, to get it set, to get it done. Whereas if I stay content and comfortable, dangerous word, comfortable, I'll buy my lottery.
Good is the enemy of great. That's comfortable, isn't it?
I buy my lottery ticket every week. It is every week the lottery's played, isn't it?
I've no idea.
Okay.
I've got no idea.
I assume it's every week. Is it twice a week? No, it might be twice a week. Anyway, the point is still the same. I buy my lottery ticket every week. Let's call it every week. And that costs me
£1.
£1, £4 a month. Okay, so but it's a comfortable amount for me to lose. I'm prepared to lose it. I might win. Chances are I won't, but there's a small chance that I will. I put all of that money for the next 10 years.
The important point there also is, and an important lesson I think, is only put in what you're prepared to lose.
Yep.
Don't overstretch yourself and overcommit.
No.
Because then you're going to beat yourself up. I shouldn't have done this. Okay, I knew this was a bad idea. I never had enough experience, didn't have the right expertise, didn't have the right resources, didn't have the right team members, whatever else, okay?
And now you're feeding that negative loop in your brain.
Exactly. The bank account is minus.
Yep.
What's the outcome?
Now you're in debt.
There you go. And then you're probably not going to recover because you're going to beat yourself up every single day because we are brilliant at beating ourselves up.
Oh yeah. Don't let anyone else beat yourself up.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah. And do it worse than anybody else can.
Oh yeah. I am
I
far
mean,
more.
Why be good to yourself? I mean, what's the benefit of that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm far more judgmental of myself than I am of anybody else. The number of times I've walked
And more harsh.
Yeah. The number of times I have walked away from a situation where things could have gone better, things could have gone differently, and it's my fault. Whether it is or not is irrelevant.
Take responsibility, yeah.
But it's my fault. I should have done this. I should have done that. But unlike so many who just dwell on what is, what isn't, and what I go, okay, I should have done this. What does this teach me? And that ain't easy.
No.
And sometimes I have to have a conversation with, a friend, a mentor, a coach, and I tell them about the situation. They go, okay, have you thought about this? No, I haven't. Okay, well, maybe you need to get out your own way and think about it like this.
It's hard to read the label on the inside a bottle, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You need somebody else.
Yeah.
Do that for you.
But sometimes you do have to have that somebody in your life that will tell you to get out of your own way.
More often than not.
And that will help you grow and improve your emotional bank account. But none of this can be achieved without that resilience, that emotional wealth to begin with.
And consequence. And also, depending on how badly you want it.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then you're going to go for it, aren't you?
Yeah.
If you don't, then you'll make, again, we've talked about this in others too.
Excuses.
Make excuses all the time.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is probably the hardest to do, not just because you can't see it, but because it requires a lot of effort, and you can't see a regular, frequent, daily improvement.
No.
Straight away. It takes time.
Yes.
It takes time, okay? But when the penny does drop, as in you see it, you feel it, you know it, okay? Then you realize, boy, this is so powerful.
Yeah, it really
And
is.
it's so hard to bottle this, or so hard to grab somebody by the shoulder and say, this is good for you, just do it. But I wish I could sometimes.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
that's what I needed. And when someone shared this with me, said, stay on this path here. This is going to make a big difference. This is linked with, obviously, a bigger topic, which we covered before as well, mindset.
Yes, yeah, it is.
And this feeds the mindset, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, that's something that, and this is something I am, I do genuinely believe. You'll come to this when you're ready. And it will affect you when you are ready for it to affect you. There was a number of years where I had a massive chip on my shoulder about everything. Everything was unfair.
Young and naive.
Yeah, yeah. And had someone presented me with this at that time, I'd have told...
dismissed it.
Absolutely dismissed it. Got, it's just woo-woo, meditation, rubbish. I'm not doing that. And I wouldn't even try it. Or I would try it with the intention of making it fail.
Shadow of Enki has posted a message for you, Kieran.
Yep.
Which is, how's it going?
Really well. Really, really well. Yeah. Things are really good. Things are looking up. We've got a few.
That's awesome.
I did.
Thank you for.
Thank you very much.
If you have any other questions, or you want to share your thoughts,
how are things with you?
Yeah. You guys make the world a better place. Isn't that nice?
Oh, that's really sweet. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Pay them to write that.
Well, I don't think I'm allowed to pay people to say things like that. No, genuinely, those comments are really, really nice and really sweet. I do appreciate them,
and that helps our emotional bank account. And
yeah, absolutely.
We've seen others what we've seen ourselves.
Yes,
so appreciate, recognize, support other people do amazing things. Helps you do amazing things.
I love seeing other people do amazing things. Yeah. So to kind of bookend this, one of my friends recently got a new job. He'd been in his previous job for about 10 years. It's really good. He's a quantity surveyor. So, he deals with fine print and contractual details all day long. And me and myself and another friend of ours were, who are both, more entrepreneurial. We're more, let's go and do this. Let's go and try this. We've both been telling him for years that he needs to get out and grow, because there are ways that he is being stifled in a box there. And he's been terrified to do it. He's been really, really scared to do it.
Isn't it?
It's a massive decision. Especially, he's got a family, he's got children,
Shadow Enki says growth is important.
It is. It absolutely is.
The point you're making.
Yeah. And this year, January this year, he started a new job. And we finally kicked him down the road hard enough until he handed his notes in, put his CV together, and got a new job.
10 years is a good time, though, isn't it?
It
It's
is.
commitment. So
Yeah.
take my hat off to him.
And in the months since leaving his old job, he is now working with people at a more senior level that were in his old job and aiding and supporting them in his new position. He's doubled his salary, doubled it. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen for everyone, but he needed a couple of friends to take him to one side. And I mean, when we had this conversation, it was over the festive period, and we were pretty brutal. But we were brutal in a way of, this needs to happen. You need to do this because you are good at what you do. You can do this. But you need to get out your own way.
Take that. Party comment from Shadow Venki. Sometimes the best way to fight fear is with the power of knowledge.
Yep.
Especially, if you have, I think your last point is, especially if you have a good support group, which is exceptionally important. As we said before,
incredibly important.
We've got quite a few quotations today, haven't we?
Yep.
A rising tide raises all boats.
It really
so you
does.
Be in that group, don't you?
Yep. And your network
is your net worth.
Rely on your friends. They will get you to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
And if they're not supporting you to get there, and they're dragging you down, don't be afraid to change them.
Well, that was a wonderful topic. And thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you found that useful. You can go and implement some stuff. Keep the wealth account high. Until next week, take care of yourselves. See you soon.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after